got to tell you, I went back and forth listening and doing research and seeing where these guys line up. And my thought process really shifted because in my mind, when I was looking at this one, I'm like, the Brewers have the three best starting pitchers, the best three-man rotation, perhaps even against the Dodgers might even have the best three-man rotation in baseball. But as I started kind of like think about the matchups, think about what all goes into this one, I think that the Braves can present problems to Burnes, Woodruff, or Peralta. I don't know who, I don't know when, but I think the Braves can do enough offensively because they have a hell of an infield. Even though they lost Ronald Acuna Jr. during the year, they managed to almost rebuild him in a way, make up for his loss in production. Jorge Soler, Jock Peterson, a couple guys they acquired around the deadline, minor moves at the time, but have paid dividends for them. In the first two games, their ability to roll out a guy like Charlie Morton or Max Fried, two great curveball pitchers. The Brewers have really struggled against the curveball this year. And Morton is a wealth of postseason knowledge from his time with the Rays and Astros, obviously. I'm actually leaning Braves in 5 heading into this one. And I think it's just going to be a matter of the Brewers' postseason experience not being on par with the Braves players. And I also do think that the fact that the Brewers lineup isn't as deep, obviously Willy Adames was a great addition for them throughout the year, but you would like your former MVP, Christian Yelich, to have more than 248, 9 home run line heading into this game. And obviously Jackie Bradley Jr., who was one of their free agent acquisitions, literally has a negative WAR at the moment. Not to mention that they lost one of the top setup men in baseball, Devin Williams, because he decided to get a little bit too swifty and punch a wall or go full Kyle mode after they clinched the NL Central. And
you mean Kyle, the rage-filled people? You mean the people who drink Monster Energy drinks and ride dirt bikes?
Not stereotype. My bad, Kyle.
Don't worry. I've been through a public high school. I got millions of Kyle jokes growing up as a kid. It's not that new to me. I was just amazed that you had that. You decided to go with that joke there. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you forget your audience, but still, Devin
or your
Williams,
co-host,
and your co-host.
Not even your audience.
Inconsiderate here. My bad. Apologies, my friend. But the fact that you lose Williams heading into this game just creates a lot more stress on Josh Hader. I feel you might even be tempted, if you're the Brewers, to throw out potentially Josh Hader for multiple innings just because you know how good he is. I mean, you want to know how good Josh Hader is? A .097 batting average against this year, 15.7 K per 9 rate. The dude is unbelievable, but if you can't get from the starters to him, the Brewers bullpen outside of him, it's kind of a mess. And I think the Braves can take advantage. Like I said, Braves in 5.
The Brewers were definitely going to do the national strategy of just using 5 or 6 pitchers the entire playoffs. Like maybe they're going to get like 1 or 2 Eric Lauer innings here and there. But other than that, they kind of just want to go with Burnes and Woodruff and Hader pretty much all the way through the rest of the playoffs. Okay, so let me just say on the front end with the Braves and the Brewers batting. These two teams basically just do a Spider-Man meme of each other in terms of their lineups. They're basically just good enough to get by. They've got a lot of people in the 700s of OPS. They're just slightly above average. Both made little moves at the deadline to try and add pieces here and there. They got one really great player for the Braves. That's Freddie Freeman. And for the Milwaukee Brewers, that's actually Willy Adames, I think. And then they've got really disappointing stars this year, for the Braves being Ozzie Albies, who's going to be their 4-hitter. And for the Brewers, it's going to be Christian Yelich, who's still their 4-hitter, but also, like you said, he's hitting the 700s for OPS. I think 9 homers this year, you said, is the number for
9 home runs from a guy who hit 44 just 2 years ago.
Yeah, Christian Yelich, the back problems are going to be a deal for the rest of his career, I feel like. And so they can definitely get by. I think their offenses do a Spider-Man meme, and maybe the Braves have a little bit more just because the names are more recognizable. Like, apparently Luis Urias was really good for the Brewers this year. The Padres just dumped him on the Brewers, gave up.
Austin Riley over here batting over 300 with 30 plus home runs too. Add him there, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, and Dansby Swanson never quite lived up to his full prospect rating, but he still is one of the better shortstops in the National League. So that infield alone, I think, is enough production to get you by. And if you just get any production from Soler and Peterson, I think that they can get to Woodruff and Burnes at least once. They tagged him up a little bit throughout the year. I believe the Brewers did win the season series, if I'm not mistaken. But after those series, the Braves were able to go on some of their best runs. And I do think it actually works to the Braves' advantage that they had to battle for the division to the very end. Sometimes baseball is more about momentum, heading into the postseason, because when you have to battle literally to the very last game against the Phillies like they did versus the Brewers, who kind of sat comfortably. I mean, the Reds were challenging them at moments throughout the year, but never really was close. And it took a 17-game win streak by the Cardinals to get within even striking distance of them. Plus, the Cubs fell off right out the gate, too, right in the middle there. The Brewers have been pretty much locked into this postseason lineup for a while, while the Braves had to just keep battling, keep scrapping, come back from losing their top guy. I just like that they have a lot of positive momentum heading in their direction. I think that's very important in a baseball postseason.
I think that's totally valid. I was going to say at least the Braves have more recognizable names than the Brewers, which doesn't mean anything. I think the playoffs are so random that like it doesn't matter. Like one of these teams is going to have that magical postseason hero who hits like 3 homers in a game, and it's going to be like Omar Narvaez or something like that. But I would say I lean Brewers only because I know the Brewers are a more talented team on paper. And you mentioned Acuna, like that one really hurts for the Braves. I thought it was going to be the reason they didn't win the division, but the Mets fell off the table. The Phillies were a disappointment. The Nationals and Marlins started tanking. So the Braves kind of won that division by default. And like you said, they had to fight all the way to the end of the season to fight off magical late charge by Bryce Harper. But I would lean Brewers in this series. I'm going to say 5 games just so that people kind of get that I'm kind of battling with this one to try and figure out where it is. Because again, baseball's hard. I don't pick sweeps because it's so random. I'm just going to say Brewers in 5 because I'm battling with who's going to win this one. But even without Devin Williams, I still like the Brewers pitching staff to prevail.